What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Yard Red Festival, and hopefully something is working somewhere. I don't know if it is, but there will be. Oh my god, I actually see the stream. We might actually be broadcasting something, guys. That's fantastic. So this is game number 2. Game number 1 was full of technical errors, but I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it for everyone right now. It was HellRaisers taking a very quick 15-minute victory over AlbumSheet, as AlbumSheet had way too much late game in Shadow Fiend and Terrorblade, and HellRaisers had a Slark, so you could kind of imagine what happened in that one. So we're going to be moving on to a game number 2 in this best of 3. I'm Mike Loris here on, I think, the ESFX HeflaTV channel. I'm also joined by Grandis V.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like my local recording for the VOD is missing my mic, so I'm going to go ahead and try to get that up and running so we at least have the majority of the game to throw up on YouTube so people can actually watch the game. It's been fairly frustrating to try to get these streams up and running, so that's what I'm going to be doing for the first couple of seconds of this video.
Alright, well, you just let me know when that's back online for you, and then I'll go over the draft in the meantime. We do see AlbumSheet taking a very different approach for their opening draft. Batrider, Brewmaster. I believe the Brewmaster was first banned in the last game, and Batrider is going to be a new hero, which I think was just completely ignored. Overall, just tankier heroes for AlbumSheet, and that's really what they needed last game. Batrider is going to have a more or less guaranteed good time in lane, and Brewmaster is kind of the same way. HellRaisers, they opened up with the Nature's Prophet first in the last game, and it worked out very well for them, so why not go for it again? This time they get their hands on the Skywrath Mage, so once again they're going for what looks like a very aggressively slanted lineup, as AlbumSheet ban out the Slark, making sure that they don't have to deal with that again. Witch Doctor, and then a whole bunch of more supports, and Earthshaker Mirana also being banned out. So Skywrath Mage, Nature's Prophet, the Sprout, Mystic Flare. It's probably going to be one of the most devastating tools for the HellRaisers to work with. Maybe not against the Batrider, because you just Firefly over those trees, and you'll have to silence the Brewmaster first, but it's capable of bursting down people very quickly.
Looks like we have the good to go to switch over to the Twitch stream, so I think we're going to go ahead and do that instead.
Damn, I actually see it on the ESFX channel now, but we're going to switch to Twitch, guys. I'm going to go do that really quickly.
It will be over at twitch.tv/HeflaTV1 if you are interested in continuing watching the stream, which you should be. Twitch is probably going to be a lot more stable, but with our luck, it might be DDoSed.
Don't say that. Don't. Don't even joke about it. Okay, alright. More technical errors, guys. You're gonna have to bear with us as we try to fix everything while at the same time casting a game, so hopefully I got it right. Yeah, we're going to be going towards twitch.tv/HeflaTV1, and sweet, you already got the title, or someone got the title already, so it should be all fine, guys. Nobody panic. We're going to be here for game number 2, and I really hope that HellRaisers don't end it in another 10 minutes again, because that would be just terrible to finally get everything working, and then we don't have a game. But we do have our second picks out now. Visage and Spectre being picked up from AlbumSheet. Visage is kind of a weird hero. He's, I think, always going to be useful, but 9 times out of 10 we see him with the Drow Ranger. So deciding to not go for that route at all is just going to be Visage as a support hero.
Yeah, which is very peculiar, especially since we're probably not going to be seeing a tri-lane versus tri-lane scenario coming out from both of these teams, as it's unlikely that AlbumSheet will decide to go aggressive, especially with the Spectre on their team. And HellRaisers probably don't want to go aggressive either. Skywrath Mage and Sand King, although they have a decent amount of killing potential, would be a lot happier just zoning out the offlaner and letting the Sand King do his jungle business.
Alright, last bans are out. Ember Spirit, as well as a Dazzle from the HellRaisers. Definitely concerned about AlbumSheet's ability to keep the Spectre alive, and that's kind of what they were trying to do in the last game. I don't know if they're going to try to do it again. It's going to be the Lion for them, so Lion Visage, they definitely cannot run this in an aggressive tri-lane. As good as Visage is in an aggressive tri-lane, Spectre is just terrible, and Lion, although he's level 1, Hex is really good. Spike really doesn't get great until Lion hits the level 5-ish mark, but HellRaisers, they're going to go for the classic, tried and true, Storm Spirit Lifestealer combination, and well, we've seen this work so many times in the past in Dota. I can only imagine it's going to work again, and it's a very powerful lineup, especially when you're trying to get on top of a Spectre.
Yeah, I really do like HellRaisers' lineup all around. They have a lot of tools to get the Lifestealer into the middle of the fight with Storm Spirit, Nature's Prophet, as well as Sand King. All of them fairly good Lifestealer bombs. That said, execution is going to be key. There's going to be quite a large portion of this game where HellRaisers have an advantage over AlbumSheet, but if they let Inquisitor get too much farm on the Spectre, that could be a different story. On the Radiant side, we are going to have HellRaisers with currently sitting inside the base, presumably going towards the offlane. Nature's Prophet going to be handled by Dive In. We are going to have FN playing on the Storm Spirit, and the tri-lane, defensive for now, is going to be played by Nexus on the Lifestealer, Dread on the support Sand King, and Scarith Mage to be handled by 1111.
That's art style.
Art style. Oh, that makes it a lot easier.
A little bit more of a household name for everyone. On the album sheet side, we have No Fear playing the solo offlane Batrider, kind of to be expected. Chomi is going to be on the Brewmaster. It leaves Aloha on the support Lion. Bignum is also supporting as the Visage, and that leaves Ink Visitor as the #1 role Spectre. So it is going to be, as expected, a defensive tri-lane. Dive In had a pretty nice time against his last laning phase. I think both tri-lanes should be relatively even. Batrider is definitely getting able to flex his muscles a lot more in this lane, though just general Arcane Bolt spam from the Scarith Mage should keep the Batrider back enough to make Batrider's time a little bit more difficult. Both sides do have contingency plans in the jungle, as Nature's Prophet can straight up jungle, and Batrider could just stack up and clear pretty quickly as well. So most of the action is probably going to happen in the middle lane, which is as weird as it is to say. And Brewmaster versus Storm Spirit, it's pretty even, although I think Brewmaster has a slight lead.
Yeah, if only slightly. Both heroes need to get pretty close in order to drop their nukes on the creep wave, and once the bottle crowing starts, I expect this to be a fairly even lane going either side, and that could change with the support rotations, and I think that's probably what we're going to be seeing. Coming up from the Scarith Mage, Sand King maybe wants to get a little bit more levels on the Scarith Mage once they have both the Concussive Shot as well as the Arcane Bolt available. For now, it's just going to be fairly passive. Sand King looks like he's just going to be stacking up some camps as the Scarith Mage currently on zoning duty.
Yeah, so Sand King, as good as it is to stack camps, you really want to start clearing them with level 2 Sandstorm at the very least, so Dread's going to have to find some experience elsewhere. It's most likely going to be in pulls, as I don't expect the Sand King to be roaming around too aggressively with the Scarith Mage. It is possible, but neither of those two heroes currently have smoke, and you really need smoke if you're going to close the distance in order to land a Burrow Strike. So odds are, though they can go for a gank on the mid lane, in theory, it's not going to be really high on their priority list.
Yeah. For now, it's just going to be a passive laning stage. Lifestealer is farming pretty well, as is the Spectre. Although she hasn't cleaned up the rest of this creep wave, she does have a double wave currently pushing into her, and I expecting Visitor to be able to clean this one up, as the Nature's Prophet is nowhere to be seen, currently looking for a bottle snipe.
And I think he's going to get it as well. Just needs 2 shots with that Nature's Prophet. This is actually holding a bottle, and it will be delivered. Okay, so it could have gotten a lot worse for Album Sheet, but still they lose a courier, which is never how you want to start the game. Pretty much a kill going the way of HellRaisers. Art style is going to be messing with No Fear in the meantime, but overall, I mean, that was just a very simple, very easy play. It could have been a lot better if he sniped the bottle, then Chomi would have gotten absolutely demolished by FN over in the mid lane, but he's going to be fine to sit in the lane for a little while longer, but still, lots of more gold going the way of the HellRaisers.
Absolutely, and it's going to be nice for them. The early game is panning out. Both of their safe lane carries farming at about the same rate. Storm Spirit doing well up against the Brewmaster at about the same. So if you look at all of those lanes in a vacuum, it's more or less a wash, although the Batrider has completely abandoned his lane now. Rotating up towards top, I'm not exactly sure why. It looks like Batrider was just looking for some stacks of his own. But he didn't actually get any.
Yeah, I don't really know why either. I mean, he can't really get much done in the bottom lane, so sitting down there is kind of pointless, but he's not getting anything done here either, so wherever he goes, he's going to be pointless unless he actually does something. Pro tips from the pros right there. So Batrider is going to be struggling a little bit. Nature's Prophet, getting that courier snipe is going to help out his team certainly, but he's still hurting on the levels. He's only level 2, and with the Visage, constant threat of damage from the Soul Assumption, and with the level 1 Hex being such a potent skill, Divin's really got to play this lane cautiously. If he slips for a little bit, suddenly he gets hexed and then grave chilled and then all sorts of unhappiness for the Nature's Prophet, and that amount of disable and damage is not something that a Nature's Prophet can survive.
Yeah, it's definitely not. For now, it is just going to be a completely free lane for the Lifestealer, which is going to open up a little bit more rotation potential coming up from HellRaisers supports, although still in the level 1 in the Skyrath Mage. Dread is at level 3 now, can start clearing up these stacks. Currently only a triple with this large camp, but the Sand King is well on his way towards a fairly fast Blink Dagger.
Yeah, that's what happens when a team doesn't really pressure the Sand King at all. It's very punishable if you block his jungle camps, or if you just go ahead and try to kill him, then most of the time you're going to get something happening. But instead, Album Sheet are prioritizing their Spectre so very highly. And if an Ink Visitor, he has a huge weight on his shoulders. If he drops the ball in any way, then suddenly Album Sheet can find themselves in a very precarious situation, as once the Sand King does get his Blink Dagger, as I said, it should be pretty quick, Then he's going to start making rotations, and I think it's probably going to be top lane where HellRaisers is going to have the most priority. Shutting down the Spectre is important for them, and by the time the Sand King has his Blink Dagger, for sure FN will have his Ball Lightning, and then that is just too much initiation range to really prevent.
Yeah, currently FN walking down towards bottom. He does have a Haste Rune waiting for him, as we have Art Style sitting on that one. Haste Rune on the Storm Spirit. Doesn't look like he's going to go Yankee anywhere, as there's nobody in this lane currently. The Batrider is still just kind of floating between these lanes as well as the jungle and not really accomplishing much. Although now he does have a double stack in the large camp. This could have been a lot larger of a stack, and he could have done a lot more as in mid. They do get the initiation off onto Chomi. They follow up with a concussive shot, and the auto attacks will be enough. The storm, or the sandstorm, actually getting the last hit, and Dread drawing first blood. That Blink Dagger is going to come out probably at 7 minutes, in fact.
That's a terrifyingly fast item to pick up. Blink Dagger on anyone 7 minutes into the game is pretty nice. I mean, even for a solo mid, diving up on top lane is going to be dive now, and I don't think he has a chance to survive this one. They're going to not use Soul Assumption. They really want Infuser to get the kill, and they do secure that for the Spectre, so a little bit of nice restraint from the supports as AlbumSheet do quickly tie up the score up on top lane. But again, getting the kill on the Sand King, I would say, is even better than getting a kill on the Spectre, because even though Spectre does need a lot of gold, a lot of experience, the immediate impact of a Sand King Blink Dagger is just so much higher than the immediate impact of a Spectre with a little bit more gold.
Yeah, especially the way the Spectre is building. Currently phase boots into Urn of Shadows. It's kind of nice for Spectre to be building into these items, but honestly, I feel it's going to delay Spectre's impact more than it's going to help her play aggressively up against this lineup from HellRaisers. And, I don't know, HellRaisers, they're going to go for Midas on their lifesteal. It's really hard to pass up that Midas this early on in the game. When you have a free lane, I can't really fault Nexus for going for this choice, although I would have liked to see the phase drums better on him than it looks like what Inquisitor is going for. But either way, HellRaisers are well on their way to a very good start of this game. Sand King currently going to stack up one more camp. After this camp, he's almost going to have his completed blink, and that's very, very threatening. He doesn't have a smoke currently, but Scarlet Mage could fix that, and wherever he goes, I expect that to be a kill. Currently, the rotation's coming mid. Aloha Dance sitting behind the Brewmaster in mid.
I just wanted to give everyone in chat a little bit of an update. This is game number 2. Game number 1 was not a def win. It was HellRaisers just steamrolling AlbumSheet. So that's just a little bit of an update for you guys, as we are just switching over to the Twitch now. There's going to be a little bit of disconnect there. So yeah, it is 1-0, regular 1-0 in favor of HellRaisers, and Blink Dagger and the Sand King. It's so very close. Dread can practically taste it, and once that happens, it's going to be potentially killing on the Brewmaster as well. The Scarlet Mage silence is actually not even there. Art Style is only level 2. I did not realize that Art Style was doing this little in the game. Visage is level 4, Lion's level 3. Art Style hasn't really been anywhere. It's kind of been like the Batrider, just floating around, not doing much.
Yeah, and the Batrider finally is starting to clean up his stack, so he's going to get a little bit more experience in the Scarlet Mage. As far as heroes that can do a decent amount without the level, Scarlet Mage is pretty good, but level 3 is very crucial to have that silence available, especially when you're ganking somebody like the Brewmaster. So yeah, he will soak a little bit of experience in mid. He's so close to that level 3, and once they have it, the kills should be fairly easy. Sand King now with the Blink Dagger in tow, as well as a smoke. Dread looks like he's setting his eyes up towards top.
And that's going to be a lane that Nature's Prophet can theoretically teleport into, but that's about it. Unless FN decides to leave right now, then they're probably not going to get overwhelming number advantage up on the top lane, although FN looks like he wants to go. He is going to be spotted out by the enemy wards, and well, now they're definitely going to know about it as well. They might just go for mid, though. Aloha Dance is not very tanky as the Lion, and it looks like they're not going to go for it. They're going to rotate with Dread FN up towards top lane. The goal right here is to kill the Spectre, and it's not going to be the easiest, but if they land an Epicenter, then it's a guaranteed kill, and even if they don't, it should be a kill as well.
Well, let's see how it's going to break down. They start things off by channeling the Epicenter, jumping in with the Storm. They're going to get the pull off, and the Burrow Strike Epicenter onto Inquisitor in a very easy kill. Dive in, does TP in, not even needed. Yep, that's going to put the Spectres free farming up in top, and their lifesteal is still having a grand time in bottom. First usage of the Blink Dagger is going to be very impactful. It's not something you would expect to have a support Sand King get that Blink Dagger as fast as he did, even with First Blood. 7 minutes is very quick.
And you also don't want your Spectre to be the one to realize that Sand King has a Blink Dagger. You want that to be discovered by your Lion or your Visage, and it's like, okay, well, we lost the support, but we do know that he has the Blink Dagger. Not good times. Over on bottom lane, Nexus trying to go for a tower. He's not going to put it into deny range, and he's just going to rage TP very nicely played by him, as AlbumSheet, they're going to rotate Inquisitor down to the bottom lane, but Spectre level 7 versus Lifestealer level 8, even just these two by themselves, as long as this Lifestealer doesn't get hit with the Desolate, it should be a Lifestealer slanted matchup, so I expect the Inquisitor to have a much worse time down this bottom lane than he would have had up on top.
Yeah. And good news for them, it will give Big Gnome a little bit of room, so he's able to pick up his level 6. The Visage Familiars coming online is very important for AlbumSheet, effectively giving them another hero to work with as far as damage is concerned, as well as that extra bit of lockdown from the Familiar drops. But still, I'm not liking this early game from AlbumSheet. I mean, when you pick up a Spectre, your lanes are inherently weaker. But still, they're going a little bit worse than I thought they would. Although Advanced still level 4, this line hasn't really done much for me. And the Brewmaster, specifically, hasn't done anything. Chomi, he hasn't used the split once. All that he has to his name is a death, and that's really not where you want your Brewmaster to be.
I'm sure he's going to use the split soon enough, especially once this Batrider clears off this final camp. That's going to put him at Blink Dagger Gold, and Batrider with the Blink Dagger is pretty devastating. I would say a little bit more devastating, potentially, than the Sand King Blink Dagger that we just saw on the top lane. So that's going to be the trigger for AlbumSheet to really get things going, as once Batrider picks this item up, they're going to want to just go for kills. But, I mean, it looks like HellRaisers, they're going to take the fight to AlbumSheet. Teleportation in on the bottom lane. Divid's going to secure the tier 1 tower for the team, and Nexus is still happily farming away. Should have drums completed or close to. No, he just has his bracer. Kind of remarkably low amounts of items on the Lifestealer given the fact. He's going to go for the drums. Over on towards mid lane, though, they're going to go for Chomi. Silence. The chain stun is almost perfect, but he does stick up, and he should be fine. As in the meantime, Storm Spirit does get a kill on the Visage up on top lane. The Spectre Haunt not really going to be doing much. He's going to try to go for Dread over on mid, but definitely not enough damage to dive a Sand King like that, especially when Nexus rotates in. Overall, it's just a 1 kill for the HellRaisers. Getting a pick on the Visage, not too bad, but nothing too huge either.
Yeah, especially since Visage did get the level 6, and I think the Familiars survived through that. Actually, they might have been picked up by the Storm Spirit after the fact. I wasn't keeping my eyes up in top after that happened. But yeah, Visage is going to get that crucial level mark. It does look like his Familiars have dropped, however. I don't see them anywhere on the map.
Well, that's definitely not good. The Familiars, as a spell, is such a long cooldown. Like 3 minutes is pretty much a black hole, and usually the Familiars last a little bit longer than that. You were just talking about how the Familiars is going to offer them a little bit more crowd control, a lot more damage, basically another hero. Well, I mean, it's a hero with a 3-minute respawn timer, and that's not even going to be realistic in a real game. So, unfortunately for Visage, he's going to be going without his buddies, and that's really not where you want to be as Visage, especially when AlbumSheet are playing, you know, pretty much like clockwork. They're going in for a kill, and then they're going to rotate into the mid lane, go smoke up and try to get another kill, and then rinse and repeat, and then rinse and repeat. AlbumSheet, they really need something to go their way, and still their Brewmaster, though he does now have a Blink Dagger flying out to him, I don't really know if it's going to be enough to single-handedly swing the game. He needs a whole bunch of, you know, nice AoE spells from his allies to connect if they actually want to take a decent fight.
Yeah, right now it's just so difficult, and their towers are falling like flies. Tier 1 tower in mid is going to be taken by Dive-In as well as by Nexus, TPing in the Nature's Prophet. On the sidelines, we do have the double blink initiation from No Fear as well as Chomi potentially coming out. They glyph up the tower and haven't leaped yet. They ping out Dive-In as they hex up Nexus. They are going to go onto the Lifestealer, lassoing him up, but the counter initiation from the Sand King is pretty good. Catches pretty much everybody. Nexus is going to be dropped incredibly low, but infests in the Nature's Prophet fast enough, and now they're going to turn onto the Brewmaster and his minions, losing 3 heroes in mid. After a beautiful jump in from the Sand King, no epicenter needed. The Sprout's not going to catch the Earth minion, but they might find... Yeah, that's about it. The Spectre is nowhere to be found, currently on the sidelines with Chomi, but Inquisitor can't do anything. Doesn't really want to fight in the Spectre until the Spectre has 1 item. It's still going to be a very convincing fight going for HellRaisers, despite having a good jump in from AlbumSheet.
Even though Nexus doesn't really have that many health items, he's still just a level 11 hero, level 11 strength hero, so he was very survivable. The Sand King came in with a nice 2-man Burrow Strike, which held up AlbumSheet for a lot longer, and the initiation from AlbumSheet, as good as Hex initiation is, at this stage you really want to jump in with a lasso and pull someone out of the team and force HellRaisers into a less than optimal spot, and that just didn't happen. The Firefly wasn't available, and Batrider decided to not go in first, and now they're going to go in for Inquisitor. He does have a Haunt, but he's going to get silenced. I don't think Spectre can survive this one. There's just too much damage from Nexus. They're going to claw down the Spectre, and AlbumSheet, they're just getting picked apart. Really, they don't have anything going for them. The Spectre, did have some nice farm, but Urn of Shadows is a completely dead item in her inventory. It's not going to get any souls anytime soon. Phase Boots is nice, but really she wants her Relic, and I don't think that's going to come for a very long time, especially with how HellRaisers are playing right now. Bignum on bottom lane might be in a little trouble. Zip in from the Storm Spirit. Bignum needs his birds to stun, but it's not going to happen. FN secures the kill, burns the rest of his mana to leave. Again, systematically taking part AlbumSheet.
Yeah. And now the last tier 1 tower on the side of AlbumSheet is going to be taken by Nexus and company. There's just nothing they can do about this. They do have a glyph available, which will delay this push, but it's only going to do that. Their Spectre can't jump into these fights at all. The Brewmaster doesn't have a split for 20 seconds. They might attempt a defense here, but I'm not sure if that's a great idea. They're going to find this Lion on the sidelines, silenced up and going to be brought down by the magic nukes coming out from the Skywrath Mage as well as the Sand King. Spectre is going to hunt in, looking for the Skywrath Mage, dropped incredibly low, but she can't actually stick to that kill, especially if Dread's looking for the epicenter. Is going to find it, but it's not going to land on anything but with the blink to follow things up. It's going to slow down Ink Visitor. Drum charge popped by Nexus. It looks like they'll chase down Ink Visitor, especially with the open wounds. Rage going to be popped, and they're going to find a kill on the Spectre. The jukes, are they going to be enough as the last one comes through? The Spectre might survive. No, not with FN jumping in. They will throw the Batrider, or rather Sand King, up in the air as now they try to focus down Nexus. This fight could go the way of AlbumSheet. They're looking for the lifesteal, they're looking for the Infest and the creeps. He finds the Infest now at full health. They need to run away from him. And now the Brewmaster jumps back into himself. Will be able to blink away, but Dread, he misses the Burrow Strike onto Chomi. Force staff forward, open wounds. Nexus is trying to eat away at this Brewmaster as Dread is being dropped by Familiars as well as by the Brew. Dread will fall to those Familiars. Sprout onto Chomi. They eat through it with the Quelling Blade. Now Chomi's going to be right-clicked down by Nature's Prophet as well as by the Lifesteal. They zip in forward, are able to pull back, no fear. And GG, well played. Another very short game coming out from these two teams.
Well, I mean, they just got completely wrecked, so I guess calling GG is fine. I'm kind of bummed, though, because we finally got everything to work, and it only took 30 minutes. Like, we were actually waiting and trying to get things set up for longer than the games were actually played. So, AlbumSheet, they just get absolutely destroyed. Like, there's no easier way of putting it. Like, they do not have anything going for them at all in either of the two games. It was just HellRaisers just bringing the heat and bringing it hard and fast, and AlbumSheet couldn't get anything going. Maybe going for a Spectre would have been a little bit too greedy, but hell, even if they had a Gyrocopter, or even if that was a core Jakiro, I don't really know if it would have been enough.
Yeah, I really don't. It felt just so dominating coming out from HellRaisers. AlbumSheet, I don't know, their individual play just didn't seem to be on par. None of their lanes really had anything going for them. The rotations weren't there. There just wasn't anything redeeming for them. So, yeah, it's not a pretty picture, but HellRaiser is looking incredibly strong currently in the Yardred Festival. I believe AlbumSheet are now bumped down to the lower bracket, as this was an upper bracket game, if I'm not mistaken. So there's still hope for AlbumSheet, but that last two games must be so demoralizing for them. Just a very convincing win.
Yeah, so AlbumSheet are still in the Yardred tournament. HellRaisers are going to moving on to the round of 4, so that's going to be happening eventually. Again, guys, sorry for all the delays. There's really nothing we could do about this, but thanks for tuning in. We got a whole bunch of people catching the tail end of the, or most of actually, the second game, but that's going to close us out for today. We're going to try to iron out those issues a little bit down the line, but again, there's not really much that we could do about it, as ESFX are going to be sponsoring this tournament, so big thanks to them for doing that. But I mean, their streaming service clearly has a little bit to be desired. Anyway, that's going to be it for us, guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the cast, then be sure to hit that follow button. Go to Twitch and go to Twitter and Facebook.com/HeflaTV and give us a follow there as well. I'm Mike Loris. I've been joined by Grandis V for the second game. And do you have anything else to say, man? Things pretty cut and dry.
That about sums it up. Thanks for watching here on HeflaTV, and hopefully the next couple of games in the Yardred Festival will be a lot smoother technically, and we'll have a little bit of closer games.
Later, guys.